Okay, day late and a dollar short, but better late than never. The physical Apple Card that aren't credit cards, except they are making their way to people. Apple, however, doesn't want you to use them. More colleges are going to virtual IDs for their students and nearly all their services as well. And the U.S. delays some tariffs from the Chinese manufacturers, mostly for electronics. Shocker. All tonight on the Mac to the Future Go livecast. Yeah. And hello, everyone. I am Guy Searle, your humble host of the Mac to the Future Go livecast. And hopefully sound issues are not a problem for tonight, but it's the Mac to the Future Go show. And I've only done this 110 times, so naturally there could still be problems. Let's see. I am joined tonight by Mr. Dave Ginsburg. How are you tonight, Dave?
Hey, what's going on, man? Good to be here.
Yeah.
A day late and dollar short.
Day late, dollar short, and the comments that we did earlier, still up there.
Yeah,
I kind of expected.
But when I just put in there, it came up.
Bloop. Turn them back on again. Yep. Okay. Hopefully they will work. I guess we'll find out as
there's
time goes on. Did they work?
Yes, they're gone.
Well, I know they're gone, but I mean, do they work right now? Blah, blah.
Good question.
Oh, hey, Laura, how you doing? Dear friend of mine from Fort Lauderdale has joined us for this evening. Okay. Hi, Laura. I'm going to type it in real quick just to see if it's working.
Is this on your page or Mac of the Future?
This is in the watch party.
There you go.
And there we go. Well, nope, there's yours. Oh, did you do that from Mac to the Future?
I did.
Okay, so that worked there. And it's not coming in from the watch party. That's weird. Well, okay, you know what?
It can handle two feeds. But
apparently,
our main audience, Mac to the Future.
Apparently it cannot. Though I can let me if I go over to, don't you just love how every single week we're like trying new things and it really works. That makes me so happy. And so Laura says, so good it hurts. Well, apparently and she specializes in weird. Where we used to date, Laura, so I'm definitely aware of the fact that you specialize in weird.
You used to date.
Oh God, yeah. Back we're talking high school. We have a couple of things to talk about, and again, thanks, Laura. I appreciate the fact that you're here. Number one, couple of quick takes. New maps are coming to Apple Maps in the U.S. with other countries to follow in 2020. Isn't that exciting?
It is exciting. In fact, I just talked about this on my podcast.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's right, because you do the
In Touch with iOS.
There you go.
And
See,
it's going to be it's going to be published tonight. So
tonight live. Well, not live.
Tonight.
I guess you did it last night.
Not live. It was last night. So.
Something that is probably disturbing to quite a few people. Many dating apps show your location whether you're using it or not. So I believe that this is one of the things that's going to be addressed in iOS 13, where if an application isn't like live and upfront, that it can't access private information. I think that's one of the things Apple's working on. And
I believe it is.
The last thing, only they've got Bulgaria. Sorry, laughing at private joke. Suggested by listener Damon Thornton. He wanted to ask about Snap's Spectacles 3. Now, this is kind of similar to Google Glasses, except they look more like actual glasses. Dual HD cameras and 3D. They're $380, and then the Spectacles, I can't speak, Spectacles 2 model is currently selling for $199. I think the new one, the Spectacles 3, is somewhat limited availability, but now for people that weren't aware of it, Google actually came out with a pair of glasses that had like built-in cameras and all this, and everyone immediately got all skeeved out thinking that this is like such an invasion of privacy and privacy. And now nobody seems to be talking about it at all. I don't know. Does it seem like it's a thing now? I guess people just don't care anymore. Have we gotten to the point where we're so, what's a good word? Where we're so used to just having our privacy violated on a daily basis that it's no longer that big a deal? I don't know. What do you think?
To me, it's not a big deal at this point. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, with all this stuff going on with the credit card companies having privacy breaches and everything else. I mean, what are you gonna do? If it bothers you, don't be online. I mean, that's simple. I mean, just don't be on social media. Don't send emails. I mean, just live like a hermit. I mean, I don't know what else I can say because that's really where it's at this point. If you're that concerned about privacy, then online, then I mean, social media is there for mostly to get as much information about you as they possibly can. This isn't conjecture. This is just again, you're getting a lot for that. It's not like they're saying just give us all your information, you get nothing in return. You've got all the various Google services that are free to use. Apple, of course, has all of their services, and they are not free to use. But then at the same time, the privacy model that Apple employs is much more stringent than the privacy model of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Google. Name your social media poison. I like what Laura Hartman said. She said, what's privacy? The average person is photographed 17 times per day without their permission or knowledge.
Well, just so long as it's not while I'm taking a shower. Okay, that's the important thing. Nobody wants.
You might be okay in your house, but in public, you're open for your photo to be taken anytime.
All right, I actually did not mean to go down this rat hole, but we did anyway. So let's get on to the main stories. The card that everybody wants but shouldn't use. While the online version, I don't have my wallet with me. Mine came too. Of Apple's card was available almost from the moment of activation on your phone. The actual physical card is only now starting to make its way to people's hands and wallets. However, the benefits of using the card pales in comparison to not using it, but the wallet app instead. You can't even make a payment to the card through conventional means, but have to also do that from the wallet app. The kind of measly cashback system is even more measly if you use the physical card. It's 1% versus 2%, and the 3% on Apple purchases. Some feel Apple should have created their own credit card, which would have been much more difficult, rather than partner with Goldman Sachs and MasterCard. What do you think, Dave?
There's no way Apple would have gone down that rat hole of doing their own thing. They're not a bank. They don't have any banking experience. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I guarantee you that all these people who have gotten cards, I mean, hey, I'm a sucker. I got it. I mean, you see this here. I mean,
you got two of
my name on it, and I got two of them. Well, that's a whole nother story, but yes, I have two of them. And it's metal. I
dropped mine yesterday accidentally, and I could not believe the sound that it made when it hit the floor.
Well, you should see the video I put out there on Facebook. I said it's metal. Pew. So anyway, but the hype of this card has been crazy. Everybody's like, when's this invite going to come? When's this invite going to come? Because all they've been doing is invites. And I'll admit it. I'm an Apple geek. I was waiting. And what ended up happening was they sent it to the wrong Apple ID. That's why I have 2 cards. So I had to cancel that account. Within a day, they threw it right over to the Apple ID I wanted it on, and away I went. But as far as paying for it, I just did it. I mean, I made a couple purchases, and then I just paid it right from the wallet.
Where was that purchase from?
I'm not saying. The Otherworld Computing. I made a purchase of Otherworld Computing.
Otherworld Computing. I see.
So I made some purchases, and I paid the bill, and it's great. Just right there, you just tap a few taps, and you can make the payment on your bank account. You can link any bank account you have, a checking account, of course, or you can also link the Apple Cash card. So if you maybe you want to save some money, put it onto the Apple Cash card, you can make a payment with that too. So they make it very easy to pay it. So I don't get statements in the mail anymore.
Does it bother you that the only way to make payments, and remember, they're partnered up with both MasterCard and Goldman Sachs, both of which have an online presence, and for the kinds of credit cards that you get from either one of those institutions, you can go directly there to see what it is that you're doing. But the only way to see what your card is doing, the Apple Card, is to do it through the Wallet app. And you can't even, I don't think you can even do it on your Mac. You can't even check it on your Mac.
No, it's only on your, I haven't tried it on my iPad yet. I should try that. But it's only on your iPhone because, and yeah, people have asked the question, what if you lose your iPhone? Well, I mean, the percent chances of you doing that, you are kind of screwed, but the percent chance of that happening are low. But I mean, the reason why Apple really picked Goldman Sachs was always known as a higher echelon bank. They always used to appeal. They always would appeal to the more wealthy, And but now Goldman Sachs is really in all seriousness, they are really tapping into the consumer market. They've gone into the loan business with consumers. They're offering loan products. And now they've got it with Apple with this credit card. If anything, that's going to get their name out there even more, and help them along with their consumer products that they're now offering. So,
well, I mean, does it astound you the interest in a card that has some, not even really so much limitations, but it certainly doesn't have all of the benefits of what a lot of other cards do right out of the gate. Right. But because it has the Apple logo on it and somebody stood on stage and talked about it, as soon as it gets released, people, And I was talking about this on the MyMac podcast with Gaz. I was saying, there's a friend of mine at work, Xavier, and he came up to me, I think it was Tuesday, and he was like, "Wow, have you applied for the card yet?" And I was like, "No, because I hadn't gotten the invite." And he was like, "Oh, really?" He says, I said, "Well, how do I do that?" And he went to his wallet app and he showed me how he had done it. And then we go to my wallet app and there's nothing there. And it's like, okay, hold on. You're someone who is relatively new to the Mac platform. You get the invite. Me, on the other hand, I've been a Mac user since 1987 and I got nothing. Now, it did come the next day, but still, it kind of galled me that he got his before I got mine.
My friend's the same way. My friend didn't get his too, and he's had a Mac since 1984. So
yeah,
and he didn't get his invite, and I got mine. He's like, "You bastard!"
why do you language?
That was a clean word.
Okay, you can say that on TV now, so I guess it's okay.
So, but I mean, the hype is there. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
What's gonna happen when the floodgates open? When the floodgates open, I mean, I've scoured the web of all the, I'm always reading news stories about Apple stuff, and how much press and how much time people have spent overanalyzing this thing. I mean, videos, what do you get, and comparison of what, I mean, okay, guys, it's a credit card. I mean, you have other credit cards available too.
I haven't seen this kind of hype, either negative or positive, since the iPhone. You know, because when the iPhone was originally announced, I mean, the build-up to it, when, you know, nobody was really sure that they were going to talk about that on stage for Macworld, but everybody knew that they were. But it was like, well, will they? You know, there was the whole Apple mystique over whether or not they're going to announce some product. And right after the iPhone was announced, there were, I mean, just this incredible number of articles with people saying, yay, nay, it's going to work, it's not going to work. And I love going back and looking at all the negative articles and how, this will never work. And this company,
exactly.
I can't, what does Apple know about making phones and blah, 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 you know, and then it wasn't that long afterwards before before Android became such a big thing that Apple basically owned the smartphone market until Android kind of got its legs from, you know, underneath it. So, you know, the fact that there is this much hype over what is essentially, you know, it's a credit card, but it's not that great of a credit card as far as what it does for you.
There's plenty of others. I mean, I have the Amazon credit card. I have a number of others that give, you know, probably a little better perks, but you know, I'll use it as sparingly. I mean, it's there as a convenience. I mean, I still have, I'm on the Apple upgrade program, so I switched it to that card because I had the Barclays Apple Rewards. I don't know what the status of that card is. I think people who have the card currently are probably going to still keep it for now, but there are plenty other cards out there that, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
There are some better perks. I mean, even though this is associated with MasterCard, they said things like, you know, your extended warranties, the plans that MasterCard offers isn't going to be on this card. And the trip insurance for rental cars, I don't think that's going to be part of their terms as either.
Well, certainly not yet.
As well. Yeah, at least not Ed anyway. But who knows? It might change. I mean, you don't know. I mean, even Damon in the chat room just made a comment about perks would be changing, like, you know, like Black Fridays, and then possibly some of the rental car companies might join up with them. And airlines, et cetera. Yeah, there's going to be so many. I mean, they're going to all these different places are going to be looking at this and like, we got to take advantage of this. There's millions of people applying for this card. Why aren't we jumping in on this bandwagon?
Well, and part of this also is most of these companies already have credit cards that they themselves put out, but nobody cares.
Or they have partnered with banks, and then they partnered with banks. Yep. I mean, it's
I've got a United Airlines card.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't care. I hardly ever use it. Certainly, I don't pay much attention to whatever, you know, miles that I get off of it, because
when I first applied for it, they gave me 50,000 miles. So
I hate flying with a passion. I despise it. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Not this next story, but the one after that. For the next story, tariffs are going to raise prices, David. Except when they won't. Quite a few of the items on the list for tariffs apparently is not going to happen, at least for now. Many electronic devices, including smartphones, are going to be excluded from the list of Chinese manufactured goods that will be affected by tariffs until mid-December, when, if it goes by schedule, will add about 10% to the cost of those items. Some of the other items include laptops, video game consoles, some clothing products, and certain toys. Now, I've got that, what's that called? Italicized or whatever that, you know, quoted. Mostly because I can't figure out what toys would be, like, not on the list that would be so important. Because, I mean, national security was one of the things that they talked about as far as why they put some of these items on this list. And it was like, what toys are related to national security? You know, it's finger quotes. That's
what I did. You didn't even notice me do it.
No, I did. It is. Yeah, I don't really get it. This whole thing. I mean, the tariffs have been this whole, will they, won't they, did they, stop it, make it stop, make it start. And the mixed signals that are coming from both the Chinese and the U.S. governments are making it almost impossible to figure out, because on a daily basis, it's like there's something new coming out and the stock market is jumping up and down like crazy. It's like, oh, they're not going to do it. And it goes way up, and then, oh, they are going to do it. And it goes way down. Nobody seems to know what's going on. And it's not just the U.S. government that I'm talking about here. The Chinese government as well seems to be completely clueless. Of course, they're slightly distracted by events in Hong Kong, but that's a whole nother thing that we're not going to go into. So, can you think of any reason why, other than smartphones, that some of these other items would be excluded?
No, I mean, I see in this article it's citing factors including health, safety, and national security concerns.
Yeah.
What concerns are for national security? I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe smartphones consoles. Because, yeah, exactly. Yeah, your Xboxes. But aren't a lot of these manufacturers also talking about maybe moving to different countries, like to Taiwan or maybe Vietnam, other countries
India.
that they can. India is another one, yeah. I mean, they can move out of China.
Again, you have to remember that
out of China.
You can't, it's not like you can just sit there in an office in Chicago or Washington, D.C. or San Francisco and say, okay, that's it. We're going to take all of our manufacturing out of China and we're going to send it to Vietnam. And then the next day, all the stuff comes out of Vietnam. It took...
I know, it takes time.
Well, it took years to build up a supply chain to handle the manufacturing of millions of small electronic devices practically overnight. And it isn't something that you can simply move easily. There's hundreds of thousands of people that are involved where it's currently being manufactured, and their expertise is certainly part of what makes it advantageous to stay in a particular region or in a particular, factory. So I don't know.
Damon said, move it to Baja, California.
Yeah. That little strip that kind of hangs down. All right. We're going to move on to the last story of the evening, which I am calling Actually Having Contact with People Horrors.
Oh.
More and more college students won't have to carry their student ID in the form of a physical card, and additionally, many of the typical services students use will be able to be done and managed with their Apple iPhone and Apple Watch. Instead of pulling out a card, students will be able to enter their dorms, buy food and books directly from accounts set up on their Apple devices, and I'm assuming Android devices as well. And this kind of ties in somewhat with the first story about the Apple Card, where Apple kind of discourages you from using the physical card, preferring that you use the electronic version of the card through the Wallet app. Yeah. So, we're getting kind of close to this crossroad where a lot of the things that people have carried for, well over 50 years, driver's license, health insurance cards, credit cards, passports, student ID, all these things that for years and years and years we have carried a physical representation of it with us, is now more or less being replaced by electronic versions. And do you see any upsides or downsides to that, Dave?
I don't see any downsides to this. I think, if anything, in this day and age with these kids, the kids have grown up in the electronics world. So what's going to change it now? I mean, having everything on their iPhone is been the way of the future. I know Apple announced this. What was it, almost a year ago, that this was going to happen when they had their event with the education. So we knew this was going to happen. So I don't see any cons to this. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I look at my wallet. I've got all my cards on there. That not necessarily credit cards. Even my Walgreens card and some of the others, and
your rewards cards.
rewards card. You got your Starbucks card on there now. I mean, you've got all kind. I mean, Starbucks. You put all you put money in your Starbucks account, and then you got your card on there. Just to get a scan. Dunkin'. They have a card you can have. I mean, any of these vendors to have it. So why wouldn't it be any different with going to school and having your pass on there? Because you notice the picture in the article that's got the pass, and they have their dollars, that they get for school, and that's in the card. So then they don't have to fumble around try to find cash or get a credit card from mom and dad or wherever. And I mean, even the credit card, they can build the credit card into the wallet too. So I mean, well, why not? I mean, I think this is great. I mean, and if you notice this is actually a news release from Apple directly. So
Yeah.
but then they got 100,000 college students will now enjoy this around a number of these universities. So it's not every university it's doing it. So
No, not yet.
but they're going to be expanding like crazy. I mean, this just shows you where Apple's going with services. I mean,
Yeah.
why
And
when you look
this
at
is
when
going
you
to
look
be
at-
this
when you
is
look
going to
at
be
that.
their big money maker going forward.
100%. I mean, these universities are paying for this, so I guarantee you that. I mean, that's where it's going to be. I mean, services is going to. I mean, we already saw the iPhones dip under 50% of their profit. I mean, it's going to keep going.
Well, do you think that there'll be a renewed push into beacons? If you remember what that is.
Remind me. The
Beacons was I think it was Wi-Fi and RFID little pieces of equipment that you could place around a store. It was supposed to be kind of the precursor to you go grocery shopping and you grab a quart of milk and a dozen eggs and some cheese and what have you. Put it into your cart, and as you're walking around the store, it's keeping track of everything that you've put in the cart, every place that you're going, and that you don't even physically use a cashier at the end. You just bag everything up and walk out the door, and you're charged for all the stuff that's there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Look what Apple did when they gave us this card. This is what the card came in, the little folder.
Yeah.
What did they put in here? There's an RFID device inside this cardboard. So as soon as I activated this card,
you had to activate the card with that.
With that, but you had this, and there's an RFID in here. So I mean, the RFIDs are here to stay. I think Apple's is recognizing that even more and more. NFC, all these places where you can scan things, and it is the way of the future as far as I'm concerned. I can't see this stopping anytime soon.
Leslie says that her son lost his student ID twice. Having it on the phone will eliminate that at $25 each time to replace it, but will add about $3,200 when he loses the phone instead. So now all of the information will still be backed up through his iCloud account, but it'd be like, oh, I need another phone. I lost that one. Something that I see Apple doing, not right away, and you can kind of see what they've done as far as cross-platform. I could see them totally taking the Wallet app and maybe a few of the other financial service apps and using that with Android, using that with Microsoft Windows. I mean, just
sure.
Services is where the big gains for Apple are right now. And for Apple, services used to just be, well, we're selling some music through iTunes, or we're selling some movies or what have you. And now it encompasses all of this other stuff. And if you looked at a chart of how much Apple made 10 years ago for services and how much it is now, I mean, it would just be, it's skyrocketing. It's amazing the growth that they're having. And the thing that mostly kind of makes me laugh is, if you remember, 2016, when the iPhone 6 came out, which was the first big phone, there was this huge surge in people buying iPhones. No way could it be repeated. And then the 7 comes out, and the growth wasn't there like it was the year before. And everybody predicted doom and gloom for Apple because they were still selling more phones. But it wasn't this incredible, huge growth spurt every single time that a new one was released. And all I remember hearing at the time was that unless Apple could rebuild up that growth again, that they were doomed, that there was no way that they could ever replace sales of iPhones and the profits from iPhones with anything else. It had to be iPhones and nothing else.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing a downturn in growth for iPhones. For the first time, it's less than 50%, of first time in years, that it's less than 50% of Apple's total revenue. And it's not that big a deal. And there are still people, bitching and moaning about it. But for the most part, it's like they're diversifying. They've got all these other sources of income. And so if the iPhone dips a little bit, I mean, heck, even Macs and iPads are showing significant growth over what they were. So the fact that the phone goes down a little bit, so what?
No, the services went up. That was the other big thing. So
went way up. All right.
It's like up to 22%, something like that.
Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight, or are we done?
Yeah, I was going to mention a little story and more so for the folks out there who use Find My and Find My iPhone, Find My iPad.
Go ahead.
Long story short, I went to because everybody knows I do a horse racing podcast. I was at the racetrack locally here in Arlington Park last week, and had my iPad with me, and of course I use my iPad to bring up the forums and I also can bet from my iPad, which is great. And long great day, and then had it out down with me at night. We went down to grab a few drinks before we left for the night, and come home, realized I forgot it, left it on the ground. I'm like, okay, I have $1,000 iPad that's going to be gone. It was in a small backpack that I had, so whoever grabbed it didn't even realize it probably. But long story short, in Find My iPhone or Find My iPad mode, you can put it in lost mode, but you also can say you can also put your name and your phone number on it, and it'll do the sonar sound and put that right on the screen. So I did that. Within 2 minutes, the security guard called me. So I was able to go pick it up that night, and I was a happy guy. And I guess it was added to my luck of the few bets I won today. That was the luckiest of it all, I guess I could say. So moral of my story is don't ever not have Find My iPhone or Find My iPad not turned on your device, because
the other moral
that saved me.
Is listen to your horse racing, off the charts horse racing podcast.
Yeah,
for winners.
There's a lot, for some winners, because that I won $1,000 right there, because I would have had to go out and buy a new iPad, and I was not happy until I was happy that I found it. So, I mean, believe me, I hold that thing to my heart, and don't ever do that. And I see Leslie just said did that with my daughter's phone, and then within 2 or 3 minutes, she got a call. So
yep,
it's just a great story. I know I'm telling a story of many others that have the same experience, but just thought the viewers would like to hear that a success story.
So it works.
It does work.
That's a good thing. It works.
On the iPad, I mean, I picked it up when he brought it to me. It had my name and my phone number on here, and it was just it had finally stopped after he pulled it out and pushed the button. But when I pulled it out, it was still on there until I unlocked it. So.
Well, and the thing is, you can, if they don't call you can just lock it and make it completely useless.
Loosely, yeah, it's a brick. So
yeah,
that just tells you if you do lose it, at least if it is gone, at least make it worthless to whoever did decide to steal it. So
yeah, or decided not to return it. Not necessarily that they stole it, just they didn't return it.
Just say, hey, I got a free iPad here. So anyway,
Dave, why don't you tell people about the other stuff that you do and how they can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. intouchwithios.com is my website. I just noticed my Windows machine just popped up over here. This is how crazy I am with technology. And that's intouchwithios.com. And I got a new episode popping up here this week. I had David Chartier on the show, so it's going to be a really good show.
You know a lot of people named Dave.
I know, I do. And then next week is Dave Hamilton, hopefully. We've planned it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. And if you're interested in horse racing, I'm doing a lot of fun, great podcasts on horse racing. We handicap graded stakes races. If anybody's familiar with that, off the charts horseracing.com, and on Twitter DaveG65.
And if you would like to get a hold of me, my email address is guy, that's GUY, at mymac.com. I do the mymac.com podcast almost every single weekend with Gaz Maz. We're currently actually getting ready to, we're kind of started up a bumper contest. And if we pick you or a random, there's one's going to be a Gaz favorite, one's going to be my favorite, and then 2 randoms each for a $25 iTunes gift certificate, or whatever they end up calling those gift certificates once iTunes goes away. Apple Music, I don't know what they're going to call them. But that's coming up. We're coming up on our 500th show together. Show 785 will be the 500th MyMac.com podcast that Gaz and I have done together, except for, of course, the ones that we didn't do together. But there hasn't been too many of those. It's mostly been Gaz and me. And, of course, besides the Mac to the Future Go live cast that we do here almost every Wednesday night, which is weird because it's Thursday. There's also Guy's Daily Drive that I record in my car as I'm driving, which is probably illegal, but I don't care. I still have fun doing it. You can find all those over in iTunes under the Guy's Daily Drive moniker. Just look up that and it'll come up, and you can subscribe and have all kinds of fun. If you'd like to help support the things that I do, I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/MacParrot. I also have a coffee page if you'd like to do just a one-time donation. It's coffee, ko-fi/MacParrot. Any contributions, big or small, would be greatly appreciated. But of course, you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to, because I'll keep doing this regardless. I have 2 Twitter accounts. One, of course, is the aforementioned MacParrot. And the other one is Vert Shark. If you go to vertshark.com, you can find audio and video of all of the various things that I do. I think except for, I don't know if I'm still putting up the MyMac podcast audio links there. I don't, that gets so much exposure and everybody knows about it. So I don't think it needs it quite as much. But that's about it. I can't think of much anything else. There's lots of stuff that I do. We have a good time. Shows everywhere. Podcasts everywhere. I'm like crazy about podcasting.
Me too.
Yeah, just about podcasting. So I think that is going to about do it for tonight. Dave, thank you so very much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. And I know it's kind of a weird night to do it. We usually do it on a Wednesday night. Yeah. I'd like to also thank everyone who has joined us this evening, specifically Leslie and who else? Damon. There was Laura and David and Damon, bunch of people. So thank you all for joining us live. Tell your friends about it. Tell them that it's an interesting show, that we do things that don't always make sense, but that's okay. And I think that's it. I'm going to shut up. So thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next week. Say goodnight, David.
Good night, David.